Hi, Diane.
Hey, good morning. Just FYI, I'm actually in a business meeting right now and I just stepped out
Okay.
to hop on. So if I could answer questions right off the bat at the beginning, because I do have to jump off here within the next 10 minutes.
Sure. We
Um,
don't wait, do we have a no, we don't have a quorum yet. Um,
okay.
yeah. So, but we will. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully someone's gonna we just need one more person to jump on. Is that correct, Brian? I think it's we need one more person.
Sure, but it's not super important to have a quorum just for the meeting itself, I don't think.
Okay. Okay, then fine. Then we can we'll get started. I don't have anything else. I don't have anything to say. I don't know, John, if you wanna we'll do the meeting minutes after. And then yeah, go does anyone have any questions for Diane or Diane? Do you wanna report anything?
No, just that we've been pretty much stable. We're hanging around 88 to 90% compliance basically to the bill. Where I do see where we miss it on some things, it's just either scheduling just doesn't work. I do have this, I expect though for the month of next meetings, though it's going to be in the 90s, it looks like. Although then I just got informed one of our techs is leaving, so we're going to have to be dealing with that, which is always seems to be the norm in this workspace. But I think at this point in time, it's pretty. We've been pretty stable. We've been pretty much all our reports have been pretty consistent. Very limited concerns, complaints voiced. I get one or two, maybe in the quarter from Husky directly on a concern because I don't think Becky always gets all of them. So I've addressed those. A lot of those were not directed at us per se. It was other situations. So I filed those over with them. But right now we're just kind of hanging tight. Again, needing to get another staffer though, I think in the next month. But of course, we all know that takes 6 months for them to really get truly trained up. But yeah, we're hanging tight. Been pretty much consistent that whole time. The same, right around that 88 to 92 range since really since last summer, to be honest. But I expect fluctuations a little bit here and there, especially if illnesses and weather like we had last month's report. But right now we're just kind of going back in the other direction and trying to get some other things in place. So
Right. Okay. And the scheduling, that's on your end or it's both? It's just
it's
trying to
both.
find.
It's both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is tricky.
it is tricky. We
Yeah.
might be able to have something, and even in the best laid intent, like we always make sure we try to schedule things for, depending on how many things are being repaired on the chair or whatever. And if something happens, traffic or you get stuck with that person, you find something else and it runs over, and then something can happen, and then we gotta, it's always trying to find that sweet spot
It's
of timing and that works. And if we have something that looks great and works, and we call the client and they don't have it, and then it's, you know, but a lot of times is if we can't accommodate in that timeline is due to our schedule, that's where that gets reported. It's not
yeah.
when the client cancels on us, it's when we're default. So when I'm looking at this, we've been hovering right around 11% of the time where it's on us that we couldn't accommodate to meet that 10-day window. And then our manufacturing too, some of our manufacturing parts have been taking a little bit longer than necessary. I think we've had conversations with our manufacturers on it. They're averaging right around 5 days. We gotta get that timeline a little bit shorter too, to help out. That's some other things, just even though that doesn't count, but still it does for us for planning purposes, right? Because when things come in and off, then it means we get this and we got this short window and then we got to try to fit it in. And then that doesn't always work. That's some of the things that we run into.
All right. David, you have a question?
A couple meetings ago, I had brought up that I had experienced delays in my repair with new motion, because part of the delay was Ty Light was sitting on orders being filled and sent out. Has the industry or your company had any sort of communication with them about these delays
Yeah,
and,
and
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 what's
that's
going on with
yeah,
it?
yeah, and that's part of the thing that we were talking about too. Like, David, for I'll share some dirty laundry on us. Like last week on Thursday, Friday, we have a lot of times when we have orders that go into our system, and I believe Gary, if I don't know if he's on today or not, but they do the similar thing. So we have automatic PO pushes that go out once we load everything into our systems. We get the order of the parts that we need, and then we send them over for our quotes or whatever that might be needed right over to the manufacturers. Once we send those over, we wait for them to get back to us and confirm back and that they're just shipping it to us, sending it to us or whatever, giving us a quote if we need it for a specialized whatever it may be. I know on Thursday, Friday, our system shut down, didn't automatically push those out. Something happened on the IT side. I'm like, oh my God, like what the hey? They found out from some IT updates to try to help streamline that stuff. We had to now go back and resend everything on Thursday, Friday. Well, that cut out 2 days. So I know I'm going to see delinquency now on some of that type of things. But we have spoke about that when we see timelines that are taking too long, David, for quotes to come back to us. We should not have to wait for a quote to come back to us 5 days. That's ridiculous. So that's some of the things that we're talking about with the various manufacturers. I actually have some of the manufacturers here at this meeting that I'm at right now here in Pennsylvania, that I'm going to go talk to. Because those are things that we have to get better at is the automation IT side of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do we make sure we get that back? And that's every, all the different manufacturers we work at. That's the challenge, right? That's the challenge of timing, what time of the day it goes in. I mean, a lot of our techs, they're doing this at night, putting everything in when they're out in the field all day long, trying to get, or they'll go and have a day of the week that they're trying to get stuff loaded in. We're trying to emphasize for all our repair techs, you can't wait. You got to, as soon as you're done with that appointment, try to put it in the system before you go to the next one. So we get things moving routinely immediately. And so if there is a problem, we can jump on it. But that, again, you got 400 and some people that you're trying to make sure across the nation are doing those type of things. And then on the other side with our manufacturers that gets back in. And then again, it's about us too, trying to pre-order load up what we can with supplies on our shelves and what have you to make sure that doesn't delay too much. But again, it's the finesse of this industry. That's the challenge that we run into day in and day out. Being that we have so many different components and parts and styles and needs. So that's the uniqueness. And some manufacturers, David, are better than others.
No, I
And
understand.
that, yeah, yeah.
One thing I just think that possibly, uh, if it's something that your company has done or thinking about, is following up with the manufacturers after a day or two instead of letting it sit and waiting on them 5+ days, because it's happened to me several times and it's
Oh,
like,
we do. We do. We have
you do?
automatic. Yeah, it's automatic. It's like we don't wait on any orders routinely more than 3 days for stuff like that. And then like for us too, if we're waiting on just saying med docs, okay, let's say we're waiting for medical justification for your equipment. We have another thing too that every 3 to 4 days, if we don't get something back from the doctor's office or the therapist that we need, we automatically reach back out. And
So,
then we have every 7 days a hard stop in our system that goes back and triggers, hey, we don't see this. Where's it at? So I make the joke myself working with insurance plans. I'm a professional stalker. I'm constantly trying to follow up and get people to answer me on stuff. This is a routine thing that we deal with. Do things fall through cracks? Absolutely, David. I'm never going to say there's 100% covered. I mean, we're dealing with humans here, in
yeah.
that, but we do have automatic triggers that are set in our systems for
Well,
that
what's
very reason.
what's their, I guess, reasoning or excuse that or whatever that they're saying is the delay? Like, why is it take? Is it just manpower? Is it like what is it that they're
I
saying
don't
that
think
the
there's
problem is?
one, no, I don't think there's any one thing that I can answer for that, David, without having the manufacturers on. But it's a good question. I mean, like you'll see in my summary report, like I said, it's 5 to 10 days to get parts typically from a manufacturer, depending on who it is and who it is. But like right now we're averaging 5 days for those things that we order in and get in. But we're trying to make sure we have enough of those if we get enough of those orders, because that's another thing we do. We have min-max utilization that we run on our supply team chain side. So if we know this is something that's routinely being ordered in that quarter or whatever in the field teams for a certain manufacturer, then what we'll automatically do is start adjusting those orders so we don't have to rely on getting it from them all the time. Try to get those in and stockpile it for better use of use of a word. But usually those are going to be, David, in our larger locations. Like what we call a category 4 or 5 location that's quite large, like our Nantucket or Niantic, excuse me, or some of our other bigger locations around the Northeast, depending where it's at. We try to then, when we look at that, that's part of the utilization reports that our supply team change try to looks at and get those answers, because that will also help us determine what is the most common products, what is the most common things that we're seeing, what do we need to make sure that we, either get those on a routine basis or we have to house them someplace. So that's all part of logistics that goes into that. But to be able to answer that directly for you, I can't say that because, like I said, every manufacturer is a little bit different. And if they're stateside or if they're West Coast side or if they're overseas, that's another thing that we got to deal with. So I wish I could say there's one candid answer for you for that, but there isn't, because we're dealing with so many different manufacturers.
Maybe you can ask them when you're in this meeting. Maybe you can get some clarity, or
Yeah,
maybe
no,
get them to do a better job
So
at
yeah,
Diane,
responding. Anyway, thank you.
yeah.
the problem is that most of the parts are proprietary, I assume, and so you're stuck with
Yeah,
you're stuck with a manufacturer.
yeah. If you can, now we try to use like batteries are pretty
Yeah,
universal. Some armrests can be pretty universal. There's some components that we do that's pretty universal, right? So, but when you're talking about anything that might be under warranty, which is typically what you think about your frames, your motors, the software programming, think of your more complex electronics or some of those other type of things of that nature, Maureen, they're definitely going to be, you gotta go back to the
yeah,
manufacturer for those parts, right? So, and anytime it's under warranty of that item, if it's under those warranted, not a worn and torn, wear and tear, typical things like you would normally have on a chair, that's excluded from that. A lot of times you can get those through Universal. I mean, or, I don't want to say we don't do it. It's not like the auto industry where you have you can go to a third party, manufacturer and
yeah,
get this stuff. It's not necessarily like that because when it comes to medical supplies, but you do have some things that are pretty universal, that you can put on. And then we keep all those. We do that intentionally so we can, be able to get there, not wait type of
yeah.
thing. So, but yeah, I have Drive is here. I have, some Permobil guys are here and, Quantum guys are here too. I don't know if there's the tea light guy, though, I don't think is here, David. I have to go down and see here in a minute. But yeah, I mean, that's some of the things that we're dealing with. And some of that's in our control and some of it's not. And so those are the conversations that we're routinely having with them in our supply chain. But that's something that we look at all the time.
Yeah.
And then with all these right to repair bills and everything, trust me, we're looking at how can we the amount of IT investment that we're doing it's huge right now, but it's cumbersome, because there's nothing that really fits like a standard Amazon ship model, right? Because we're not dealing with just commodities here, and that's part of the struggle.
I think this is a conversation worthwhile coming back to, but I know you have to get back to your meeting. So does anyone else have any questions regarding the
Yeah,
data?
anything on the data or anything else that's come up? Um, I don't think Becky, I haven't gotten anything from you, anything concerns, so I think we're good there.
Yeah,
Um,
we haven't had any complaint or any
yeah, okay.
reports or anything, so we're good. Thanks, Diane.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
And
Wonderful.
I sent one thing over to you and that looks like
Yep,
it was
it's a
taken care of
big,
right away. I mean,
yep,
thank you so
yep,
much. Yeah.
yep. We're working on that one for her, and it's funny as you said things about those foot plates. I asked that question and trying to figure out if there's something going on, but it doesn't seem to be. It's just everything's a little different for every
Yeah.
individual.
Right?
How it goes,
Exactly.
how it
Yeah.
goes.
Well, I
So,
appreciate your following up on that.
oh, absolutely, yes, Sheldon.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. I know it's unfair for you to have to answer it, but we all know there's a bill pending that would create another spot on this council for
Yeah,
Gary for new motion. But Gary,
yeah,
And my question is whether if that passes, whether we would expect that Gary would be able to come to all the meetings like the way you do. That's what I'm saying.
I can't answer for
I
him.
know you can't answer for him. I'm asking
Yeah,
your
but I'm assuming,
expectation.
yeah, I would expect, yeah. I mean, if you're on this committee, that's part of our obligation, then try to work it in, you know. That's why I stepped away from my meeting to come over here to try to
Really
make sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, I would expect that. And now I don't know if Gary will be the person if that's per se, or if he's going to put somebody else on his team. Because I think he said he retires after this year. I'm not for sure, but
I know.
I don't know. I don't want to. I thought I heard him say that earlier before in the conversation, but I don't know if it's going to be him or if it's going to be maybe his government affair person, which might be Kim, part of this if that's the case. I can answer, but I'm assuming there will be somebody consistently on that if that's the chair that the position goes to them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you so much for
But
taking
I do
the time to come
appreciate,
on.
let me jump on and kind of go out of order here. I do appreciate it, guys. And
Yeah.
otherwise, have a good rest of your day.
Yes, enjoy your
Thank you.
meetings.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so for those of you who jumped on, we let Diane go first because she's in meetings right now. So we did not approve the minutes. But I hope that everyone had a chance to look at them, and I'll take a motion to approve.
Oh, before you do, just one
Yes.
thing for it. And thank you. The minutes are look so great. Rebecca, I think that
Yeah.
you did that. They were so wonderful. Just the one thing in March, I probably, the way I speak sometimes, the two words can sound alike. My update in March where I said that if it's not a wheelchair repair case, it's a core case. It's CORE, not court. But I can see why you'd or think the difference because they sound so similar. And the way I speak, I have like a little tang to it, twang or something. But if you could just fix that, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, David.
I just think it would be helpful if we could get this stuff maybe a little sooner than the day before. That's all. I mean, I was in the last meeting, so I'm gonna abstain from voting because I wasn't part of the meeting, but it would be helpful to get it maybe a week prior. Thank you.
Yeah, and we were waiting on Gary's report, so it's just a matter of getting everything on time. All right. So do we need to we can still approve with that change. So I'll take a motion unless we have any other changes.
This is
Oh,
fair.
Becky, thank you. I can't see everyone on the screen, so do I have a second?
This is Farah. I'll second.
Thank you, Farah. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Right. Opposed? Abstain, and
I'm
David,
gonna
you
abstain. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so quickly we'll go over if we have any questions. I'll get them over to Gary if we have any questions on Gary's report. Looks like no, I have a question on it. My and Sheldon, I'll let you go. Maybe you have the same question or no. All right, go ahead.
My same question is the question I've raised before.
Oh, okay.
That I don't understand the figures. I don't understand how there could be 97% compliance constantly, exactly 97% every month, and where the by their staffing, they say they have about the same number of repairs per month as NSM, and they have 9.1, they say. That's what Gary's report said before. It was 8.1, now it's 9.1. And NSM has 17 full-time people. How is it that unless NSM is extremely inefficient, like shockingly inefficient, I don't see how it could be possible that New Motion could be doing significantly better with half the staff for the same amount of work. It doesn't make sense.
And my question was the 94% for remote. It just, that number didn't make sense to me because usually the remote repairs are would be close to 100 because you're resolving the repair while you're on the phone. I know I've had a couple of times where they've made arrangements and to walk someone through it. And so maybe that was a scheduling thing, but it still was well within the 10 days because you're able to usually resolve that right away. So that one, unless, I mean, I just have to figure out how, I would like to know how he figures that out, figures that into the numbers, because that number doesn't make sense. But, so I will send both of these questions to Gary, and then, we don't have any others. All right, we'll go easy on them. All right, okay, and Becky, you did say that you haven't gotten anything, but I'll let you go. Yeah.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Actually, as we were in the process of this meeting, we just got a referral. So we've had one this month. It's been slow, so I don't know if that's because everything's wonderful out there in the community and everyone's doing a really great job, or if people just don't know and they're not reporting to us, or if they're reporting to Diane directly. But this particular consumer is not an NSM participant for a provider. I mean, doesn't use them or New Motion. They use, and this is the first time I've been working with this, it's VA per mobile. So I don't know if any of you all know about that group, but I guess it's the VA, I would assume, right? But apparently what happened is he put the request in for 4/1 and it looks like they don't want to repair until 4/28. So it looks like I have some work cut out for myself to reach out to him and to let him know about, how we can help him.
Okay, so, and Sheldon, I've talked to you about this. We have in our wheelchair coalition, we do have a veteran. And so the questions come up if they're under this law or not.
I think they are. I mean,
Okay.
well, I have another comment too, but
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that the law isn't written for any particular company. Or even any particular payer. It just says you're in Connecticut, you're providing the service. So I think it does apply to you. But we have been told that the VA's contractor was very good and timely. So that's a little surprising. And then lastly, I just have a question about the name. Permobil is the name of a manufacturer.
Right.
Right? So it doesn't make sense that this is a dealer. This sounds like the manufacturer, which actually would not be subject to this law.
It's very new for me right now because I just
Yeah.
literally got the email about the
Okay.
case.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You need to do some work.
right,
So,
exactly. So it just says VA, the company is VA per mobile. So it could be that they went through the VA and got maybe they got the chair through per mobile or something. I'm not sure. So I obviously have my work cut out, like you said. I said I have to figure out what's going on. But at least, I feel good. At least we got someone, writing in saying they need some help, right? So that's useful. But that's all I have to report this month. It's been really, really slow, and I've closed out all the other cases. So at the present time, we did have somebody who had a insurance issue, and it was because their insurance had changed over, and there were some issues getting authorizations and the like. So that caused some slow repairs for the chair and different things that happened. So we have someone else from our agency working on that particular case. So it's been transferred over. So when we do identify issues like that, we do transfer them over or we refer them out to people that can actually help them. But we triage a lot. But in this instance, I'm really happy to say that we're cleared out of our case list and this is a new one. So I'll keep you updated as I learn more.
That will be really interesting to see how that case, because we haven't had any that we know of. So all right, Sheldon, I'll come back to you, but David has had his hand up.
I was just going to say that, just because OHA isn't getting complaints or reports, I wouldn't use that as any sort of measure of compliance, because many people are not aware of their rights. They're not aware of OHA's ability to help. And to be blunt, people sometimes won't even report it because there's really no enforcement or penalty to go and, against the companies anyway. So, all those things, and that's why we're here to, hold these people accountable and to inform people of their rights. Thank you.
Oh, I understand that, David, completely. I was just being hopeful, but I understand that it's not likely that that's the issue. And I've talked to Maureen and at length about this and said, I know that it's not just that things are probably hunky dory out there and great, that there's probably some help, but we just need to educate people more. But we do a lot of outreach through OHA. So just so you know, too, we do a few a month usually, where we're letting people know about this committee. And also when I speak to people, I let them know about the committee in case they want to join too, and about the coalition as well. So I try to spread the word as much as possible whenever I can.
Oh, no, and that it wasn't against OHA or you. What I was
Well,
saying is it's just a general, statement of fact. That's all.
thanks,
Thanks.
David.
Yep. Great.
We appreciate your outreach. Sheldon.
Yeah, I certainly second David's comment that the lack of complaints indicates everything's great. Um, and I think that the main thing is people don't know about the law. And the other, I mentioned earlier that pending bill, which also does something else, and that is it requires the industry to inform their consumers about the new law, and well, 2 years old now, but the timeliness and the right to file a complaint with OHA. I think that if that passes, it will generate. My question for you, Becky, is whether I don't think the way the bill's written, it says that OHA has a role in writing the informational stuff, but would you be willing to offer to assist the industry in, you know, boiling down with plain language their rights under the law?
Oh, absolutely. Anything to help contribute. Definitely. We're on board 1,000%.
Okay, that'd be great. I mean, it's at the time of purchase, as the bill says, at three places at the time of purchase, or rental, in this case, it's purchase. That information about what the law says, on their website and in their any newsletters. So there'd
Sure.
be many different opportunities there. Thanks.
And just to let y'all know too, I know I keep updating you about our website. It's become more of a time crunched, not well, a time issue than we thought, because we are revamping all of our website tools at the same time. So the NSM release and the new motion release are all tied into that. So we were hopeful last year we'd get it out by end of year. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet, but I will continue to keep you informed. And as soon as it does get there, I will let you all know.
Great. We have any other questions? Letting you off easy. All right. Thank you so much, Becky.
Thank you.
And we're pretty much done here. We do have I believe 6 non-legislative recommendations, and there were 2 that I thought we could I knew that we would that Diane and Gary both had meetings this week. So thinking that we can maybe have a preliminary discussion. I know Diane and Gary are not here, but there was a recommendation about having uniform training, and maybe just if the advocates can talk about what made us have that as a recommendation. What are the problems that we're seeing? If anyone? All right, so I guess all right.
Oh,
Go ahead, Joe.
and I know the last couple of repairs that I've had to let the technician borrow tools. I've had to, actually, they were on the phone with tech support, getting walked through exactly how to do it multiple times. It was it was, I mean, I understand it's a learning curve. There's new people coming on and everything like that. And it's one of those things you got to kind of learn on the job, but at least knowing, what you need for tools and that kind of stuff is essential at least.
Yeah. I've had I've had to loan out my Allen wrench a few times. And that's, I mean, Becky and I were talking about that, and it's just such a basic, I mean, you don't have your very basic tools. And that also, there was also a recommendation about what um should be stocked in their trucks or their vans. And that part of the conversation, I think that Gary and Diane should be there for. But so it seems like I've had people, and we through the coalition, we've had stories of people, the tech coming to the door, not even knowing why they're there. So that's
Yeah,
a training gap.
I mean, the past repair that I did, they didn't have all of the parts on the truck. So it was like, all right, I'm gonna leave Southbury, go all the way back to Rocky Hill in order to be able to get it and come back. And I'm like, dude, I've got extra parts in my garage. I save everything. And
Yeah,
so
we have a
I
box.
mean, it was a simple bearing. And it was like, all right, dude, this is ridiculous. Something like that you should have on your truck. And that simple bearing that's the same thing on every permobile could could have saved. He would have spent 4 hours worth of driving. So yeah, just knowing what parts to stock and simple parts like that.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. David.
Yeah, I agree with Joe on that. I've had similar situations where techs have shown up and they didn't have what they needed as far as tools. And also, another problem, unfortunately, is that not all the repair people will check to make sure that they actually have the parts that were ordered in full. They've come in, they left something, or it was the wrong thing. So they show up with the anticipation of fixing my chair, and they don't even have the parts to do it. Like either the wrong thing was sent and it was some sort of error behind the scenes, or they simply just didn't check and they forgot something. So that does happen. I mean, human error happens, but like there's got to be, you know, I guess, if we're talking about training, training would be part like, hey, make sure you have all the things you need in your truck before you leave the shop. Make sure you have all the parts that are supposed to be, for the individual, that sort of stuff. But thank you.
Thank you. Um, and then personally, I've encountered issues where there's certain things, this is a new motion because they have the seating techs and the regular technicians, but they'll pass it on. It'll be something simple like, can you just tighten this piece? And they say, oh no, I can't do that because it's you have to call the ATP. And so and that might just be new motion. But I guess, I mean, the good thing, it seems that it's all really basic about like what loading stuff in the van. So there don't, I mean, we should check back with the wheelchair coalition, but I think it seems to always be that issue of stuff on the van, and maybe that's an easy fix. So being positive about that, optimistic. Yes, David.
Yeah, we've brought this issue up before several times,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it just, the thing is you can bring it up over and over. It's just a matter of taking what we've said and putting it into practice.
Right. Yeah. And that's why we had it as two non-legislative recommendations. Okay. Well, good. I just thought we could have a preliminary conversation about that, and then, we can, next time we have time, we can talk to Diane and Gary about that. Okay, and then the other thing was the wheelchair bill of rights. and I know Becky and David, you were gonna head that up, and so I don't know if you wanna take over the conversation or just like what you're thinking, what you need help with.
I mean, we haven't had a chance to speak,
Oh.
unfortunately, so that's something that we should do a better. I mean, my fault too. I haven't
Right,
reached out
it's
either.
been
So,
busy. I just thought Becky, did you?
Yeah, so I was going to say too, David,
Yeah,
we haven't had a chance obviously to chat about this, and we all, I think, we've been conscientious about the bill and about different changes that might be happening and the like. And then the new year, right? I guess we're in April though, right? It's a long
I
time.
know.
I did look at a few Bill of Rights as just guidance at all. But I know that we definitely want some people to help out, right, David? Because I honestly, I don't think it should be OHA necessarily as the lead on this. So I'd prefer, David, you take the lead and I'll be your sidekick, and I'll help you out and we can do what we need to do. And but anyone, Farah, Joe, anybody else, any other, John, anybody, Jenny, if you want to help out since you're here, anybody who wants to sign up and just kind of put your thoughts together. I know the coalition has been part of the communications about this too, as well. But Sheldon, everybody,
I know.
it would be helpful because I honestly I don't think it should just be David and I, right, David?
the more the merrier.
Yes,
I'd be willing to help on it. And the
that's
thing
fantastic.
is, the one of the things in the Bill of Rights is obviously the wheelchair repair law, the
Mhm.
timeliness and not just the 10 days, but the coming or ordering parts and being responsive on the phone, all those things seems really basic that should be in there. I mean, if that law passes, the bill passes, then that will be required in certain places, but at certain times, but things like a basic thing should be there in the Bill of Rights. The other thing, and I don't think we have anybody from DCP today, but they're on this council, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
surely.
But there's the lemon law. There's provisions applicable to CRT in the statute that DCP administers. So those are rights. I mean, it just seems if they're rights, they should be included. So think we should be broad that way.
And Daryl, I didn't mean to forget you. I think I did, and I'm sorry. I just try to name off everybody on this list here that I see.
Not a problem at all. All good. Yeah, I'd like to help out any way I can.
Excellent.
Hey, Farah.
Hey, thank you. I actually got some messages from some wheelchair users since our last meeting, who watch our meetings, and they were very interested in the fact that we're working on putting together this Bill of Rights, and specifically they were very interested or concerned or whatever, pick your word, about who was going to be, like what selection of people were going to be putting this together, and they wanted to make sure that whoever it was, that there was like a good and diverse group working on this, like manual chair users and power chair users and folks that were nonverbal and things like that. Just because the experiences of folks, as we all know, trying to get our chairs repaired can vary a lot from chair type to chair type and ability to ability. And yeah, I got a whole bunch of whole bunch of emails about that this past few weeks. I'm sure that y'all did too. So I just thought I told them I'd bring that to the table, and here it is. So hopefully hopefully we get some great folks to chip in on that.
If I could respond, and maybe however great we are or not, maybe it makes sense to run it by others too, right? Not here, not on the council, but just as you said, to make sure that we're not missing something and that it's understandable and didn't leave out, a particular group or whatever. Maybe that would make sense to do as we go along.
Yeah, I think that that's very smart. I mean, if it's supposed to be a Bill of Rights for all wheelchair users in Connecticut, we should make sure that everyone impacted as well as we can feels represented, right? Um, and just to be clear, I don't think anyone felt like we were doing anything wrong. I think everyone was really excited about what was happening. I think that everyone also just wanted to make sure that we had you know, good diversity because it's easy to it's easy to let one or two people be in charge of something and then stuff gets missed just out of not knowing. But anyway, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you,
Thanks, Sarah.
Farah. And I mean, with David and Becky running lead on this doesn't mean that they're going to submit anything without the council's input. And I know that we've talked with the coalition and the group that I'm representing, C equals A, we've talked about going because they have experience with Bill of Rights, bills of rights. And if there are any, and if you have a group or people who are interested, we could even do a one-time focus group or something. That, I mean, I agree, the more voices that we are able to hear, the better. It's only will be stronger. So
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. I don't think that anyone thinks that this is, you know, bad or that, anyone here shouldn't be, involved or heading things up or whatever. I think that folks are just excited that we're doing this and, are just, you know, sharing their thoughts and insights. And there's a lot of wonderful groups of, wheelchair users out there and yeah, and they're stoked. And I think that doing a focus group or something like that is a really good idea. 'Cause boy, I know a few things and it is nothing compared to what everybody else collectively knows, and I know that that's true for everybody here. So, um, yeah, yeah. Anyway,
great.
There, I agree with you 1,000%. And that's why I said the more the merrier. And I think David said that too. So we're
yeah,
definitely on board with that. And I love the idea, Maureen, of a focus group just to get started. That might be a good starting jumping off point. The more people we can get involved and just invite anybody who wants to be part of it in, and then just get started from there, that would be fantastic. So thank you.
Yeah, it would be good to hear from, and hearing from more or new people is also good just to help get the word out about the law and about their rights. So if the more people are engaged, they're gonna spread the word. So yeah, we only makes us stronger.
absolutely.
Okay. So do we have, is there anything else on this or any of the other non-legislative recommendations? You probably don't know them off the top of your head, but the other ones are really related to the wheelchair industry. I don't think that we can really talk about them without their being present. So, but this or any other things, we do have lots of time or we can adjourn, but we could take this time if anyone has anything else that they want to bring up or to discuss.
Maureen, I have one question that
Yeah.
might be helpful from Gary. Since you're sending him some questions,
Yep.
maybe we can ask if they are, allowed to sit on the council, right? If this bill passes, who would be if he would be the one sitting in, or if somebody else would be sitting in on his behalf, or who would that person be? So that way we'd be able to get prepared, and to
Right.
bring in that person maybe and get started or acclimated, or just might be good to know.
Okay. Yeah.
And that applies even whether the bill passes or not, because
Right. It
Gary
does. Yeah.
guessed and does show up, so.
Does okay. Doesn't look like we have anything else. I know some people here uh on here while they have other stuff that's going on or other meetings. So we can adjourn early on the third Wednesday of May is 1, 2, 3 is the 20th. Does that work? Okay.
Yeah, looks like it.
All right, so let's put it in for the 20th, and if anything comes up, then we can always change. Okay. David.
I was just gonna say, can we just get maybe a Google reminder to put so it's put into the calendar? Sometimes people don't put it in their calendar, but when they get the invite, it automatically just gets put in. If we could do that earlier, that would probably be good.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
Okay. All right. All in favor? Aye.
I
Opposed? Abstain? All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next month.